Chicken nuggets, one of the greatest things to ever be invented, especially now as an adult with adult money. I remember as a kid wanting to go to fast food restaurants all the time just to get some chicken nuggets. Whenever my parents picked me up after school, I would pass by McDonald's and be like, Mom, Dad, can we get some chicken nuggets? And they'd be like, no, we don't need chicken nuggets. We have food at home. Only to find out when I got home that the food that we had at home was either nothing or a bunch of fruits and vegetables. And as a kid, I obviously wasn't eating that, so I would just starve to death. But now, as an adult, I can drive home and pass by my local McDonald's and be like, damn, I really want some chicken nuggets. And now I can just order some. But anyways, today I decided to take all the chicken nuggets I've ever had and put them on a tier list. I'm going to be including chicken tenders on this list because it's pretty much the same thing. And I'm going to be including things like price into my tier list, so if some foods are lower, that's probably why. With that being said, let's start off the list with Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A is pretty weird when it comes to chicken nuggets. Overall, as a nugget, it's pretty good. I feel like I'm eating genuine chicken compared to some of these places on my list. And when I'm there, I feel pretty safe. Anytime I say thank you, the employees will always say, my pleasure. And I feel a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Compared to if I went to Burger King, where if I asked for some extra ranch, they spit in my face, acting like it was the Great Depression. The only problem I have with Chick-fil-A is their pricing. The Chick-fil-A nuggets are so small. Like, I went to a Chick-fil-A the other day and their 8-count nugget was $6.89. Like, that is highway robbery. Not to mention the fact that the nuggets are so small that I could probably eat them all at once. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to be putting Chick-fil-A at C tier. Alright, next up we have Wingstop. Now, Wingstop has some pretty good chicken tenders. They got all sorts of flavors, and not to mention one of the greatest ranch to ever exist. I remember the first time I tried a Wingstop's ranch, and I damn near levitated. It was that good. But the only problem I have with Wingstop is that it takes forever to get your food. Not once have I been to a Wingstop, and it didn't take me at least 20 minutes to get my food. Overall, their tenders are pretty good, their ranch is amazing, but for how long I have to wait, it's gonna have to be a B tier. Alright, now next up we have McDonald's. Now, I know a lot of people love McDonald's chicken nuggets. Like, if you asked me as a kid what my favorite fast food chicken nugget was, I would have said McDonald's. But ever since quarantine, I don't know what it is. Maybe Ronald McDonald thought he was cooking in the kitchen, but the nuggets now are just straight nasty. The chicken doesn't taste like chicken at all. The breading is just very off-putting. And to top it all off, their customer service is just straight trash. And for those reasons, I'm gonna have to be putting McDonald's in the F tier. They just let me down. Alright, next up we have Raising Cane's. Now, Raising Cane's I've only had twice in my life, but both times I was there, I was very satisfied with my meal. Their chicken is pretty good. They give you a piece of bread with your combo box, and you can turn that into a chicken sandwich. And overall, their customer service is pretty decent. Sure, a combo box will cost you at least $12, but for how good the food is, I'm gonna have to be putting Raising Cane's at an A tier. Alright, next up we have Denny's. Now, I know Denny's is more of a diner than it is a fast food restaurant, but me and my family used to go there all the time, and as a kid, I remember just ordering their chicken tenders all the time. And from what I can remember as a kid, their chicken tenders weren't really anything that special. And on top of that, the meal was $10, which at the time was equivalent to 40 chicken nuggets from McDonald's. But to be fair, anytime I think of Denny's, it brings back good memories from my childhood. So even though the chicken tenders aren't that good, I'm gonna have to be putting it at D tier. Alright, now we have Wendy's. Now, Wendy's, hands down, has to be the greatest bang for your buck chicken nugget I've ever had. As a broke college student, or whenever I'm just going to hang out with my friends, we'll be like, damn, we're pretty hungry. And shining down from the heavens, I would just see the restaurant Wendy's. I don't think any fast food deal can beat Wendy's 4 for $4 meal. The fact that you get some amazing tasting chicken nuggets, along with a burger, fries, and a drink, that automatically puts Wendy's at S tier, no questions asked. Alright, next up we have Dairy Queen. Now, Dairy Queen, I can only remember having their chicken tenders like 2 times. And if I remember correctly, their chicken was pretty good, you know, it did its job. And the combo meal that I ordered it with came with the fries and a drink, and it was only $7. And for that reason, I'm going to be putting it at C tier. Nothing too special, but it did its job. Alright, next up we have Dino Nuggets. Now, as a kid, I loved Dino Nuggets. Anytime my parents didn't cook, they'd ask me what I want to eat, and I'd always say Dino Nugget. But now, in 2023, anytime I go to microwave Dino Nuggets, they just don't hit the same. I don't know if they changed the recipe, or if it's just me growing up, but they just don't hit the same. Now, air frying the Dino Nuggets is a different story, because at least then they have a crunch. But as an overall taste, I'm going to have to putting Dino Nuggets at a D tier. Alright, next up we have Dave's Hot Chicken. Now, Dave's Hot Chicken is pretty good. They got really good chicken sandwiches, and their tenders are pretty good. But for how much it costs, it's pretty similar to Chick-fil-A in the fact that they're really good. It's just I wouldn't eat there if I was on a budget. And for that reason, I'm going to have to be putting it at a B tier. Alright, next up we have Burger King. Now, I know I was bashing on McDonald's for not having good chicken nuggets earlier, but Burger King has some really good chicken nuggets. I feel like with Burger King, you either love their chicken nuggets or absolutely hate them. And me personally, I think they're really good. But probably the best part about Burger King chicken nuggets is that they're always so cheap. An 8-piece chicken nugget at Burger King is only $2.49. That is an absolute steal. Now sure, their customer service may be trash, and I'm scared a homeless man will come out of nowhere anytime I step foot in one. But for how good their nuggets are, and the price I'm paying, I'm gonna have to be giving Burger King an A tier. Alright, next up we have Arby's. Now I've only had Arby's once as a quick snack on a road trip, and their nuggets have to be the driest thing I've ever had. Every time I took a bite out of one, I would have to take a sip of water, it was that bad. Maybe I just got a bad batch. Maybe they just make it like that. I don't know. But Arby's, I'm going to have to be putting at F tier. I don't know how they're still in business. Alright, next up we have IKEA. Now I know IKEA is more of a furniture store than a restaurant, but they do serve chicken tenders at their food court, so I'm going to count it. Now as a kid, I would always go to IKEA to get kids meals, and I would always get the chicken tenders. And I remember the chicken tenders always hitting the spot. Sure, they weren't the best chicken tenders, but I always leave there satisfied as a kid when I ate them. Even as an adult, when I go there, all I feel is nostalgia when I eat them because they taste exactly the same as I remembered as a kid. Overall, their chicken tenders are pretty good, so I'm going to have to be giving IKEA a B tier. Alright, next up we have Popeyes and KFC. Now Popeyes and KFC, it's a completely different story when it comes to their buckets of chicken and which one I'd rather have. But as for their chicken tenders, if I had to choose between the two, I would rather choose Popeyes. I like the fact that Popeyes breads their chicken more than KFC, and in general the Popeyes fries are just a lot better than what KFC has. Now would I go there mainly for their chicken tenders? Probably not, I'm there for the bucket of chicken. But for their chicken tenders, I'm going to have to be putting Popeyes at a C tier and KFC at a D tier. Alright, next up we have Walmart. Now I know Walmart is more of a store, but when I was a kid, my parents would always order me and my sibling these tiny chicken nuggets they served. They're around the same size as the Chick-fil-A ones, but as a kid, these were one of the greatest chicken nuggets I've ever had. I honestly had them in my GOAT discussion when I was a kid versus McDonald's, they were that good. And for that reason, I'm gonna have to be putting McDonald's at an A tier. Alright, next up we have Jack in the Box. Now Jack in the Box I've only ever had once, and it was on a road trip when there was nowhere else to eat. And let me tell you, Jack in the Box chicken tenders probably have to be the grossest thing I've ever tasted. The texture was super weird, the chicken was just okay. But what was really off-putting was that their chicken tenders looked like real fingers. They look exactly like the fingers from Jujutsu Kaisen. And for that reason, I'm gonna have to be putting Jack in the Box at an F tier. Alright, next up we have Carl's Jr. Now, as a kid, there used to be a Carl's Jr. in my mall, and we'd always order the star-shaped chicken nuggets from there, and as a kid, I thought that was so cool. But as for overall taste, they were just not that good. They were just pretty average. Even as a kid, I just thought they were okay. So even though they did have a pretty cool shape, I'm gonna have to be putting Carl's Jr. at a D tier. And finally on the list, we have IHOP. Now, IHOP has some pretty good chicken tenders. I remember going there for the first time and genuinely being surprised at how good they were. But similar to Denny's, I'd much rather save my $12 and go to somewhere like Raising Cane's where they have better chicken and just more food. But as an overall taste for their chicken tenders, it was pretty good, so I'm gonna have to be putting it at a C tier. But that's all the places I have to review for you guys. Let me know if I missed any restaurant or fast food places in the comments, and I'll try my best to visit them if they have them in my area. But anyways, I do appreciate you guys for watching the video. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I post videos every week, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out.